Welcome, fourth graders. So we are finally at that time of year. Everybody's been waiting for it. It's kind of a rite of passage as a fourth grade student. We're to the math skill of division. That's right, division. Maybe you're scared, maybe you're excited, maybe you're a little bit nervous, but don't worry, it's not so bad. In fact, I think it can be kind of fun. With division, you just need to remember a certain phrase. And maybe right now you're looking at that mouse and the mouse is checking out the trap. And yeah, maybe you're a little worried about that guy. And that's the phrase here, which is dead mice smell bad. And they really do. If you can remember that phrase, though, it is going to really help you out when we start dividing, especially larger numbers. And that phrase stands for, you can see it right there, dead stands for divide, mice stands for multiply, smell stands for subtract, and bad stands for bring down. So dead mice smell bad, or divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. Let's get back to that mouse there. In the creation of this video, while we're doing division, you do not need to worry. No mice, no animals will be harmed. In fact, that mouse there, you're worried about him because you're thinking he's going to head over to that trap to get that piece of cheese, but really that mouse is just thinking about maybe heading over to that cheese, pushing it aside, and doing some reps here, kind of working out a little bit. So just think while we're talking about this, that no mice are going to be harmed. You do need to remember after a mouse has lived a really long life, gotten into old age, and then maybe passed away, then they're going to smell bad. But no harming of mice is going to happen, no harming of any animals while we're doing our dividing, multiply, subtracting. But let's stop with that. Let's get our game faces on. So go ahead and do this with me. Hopefully you have your game face on now and you are ready to do some dividing. And we're going to remember how we divide with dead mice smell bad, DMSB, dead mice smell bad, or better yet, divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. Division is as simple as that. Let's take a look at these two problems here and let's kind of just look at them together. I'll work through it. You can just kind of watch. When we've done problems like this already, especially that top one, we've started out and we've said, well, how many nines can I fit into 4? Does that work? Can I fit some nines into 4? Well, no, 9 is larger than 4, so I'm really not fitting 9 into 4, I'm fitting 9 into 45. So what's the most amount of 9s I can fit into 45? Hopefully you're thinking about your multiplication facts right now and you're thinking, well, it's 5. 9 times 5 is 45. And that goes over top of the 5 because we're going 9 into 45. I can fit 5 nines into 45. So we just did the dividing part. What comes next is our multiply. That's where I always put a little multiplication symbol here. 5 times 9, and I like starting up here. 5 times 9, and then we work down. 5 times 9 is 45. I divided. How many 9s go into 45? I just multiplied. The next is subtract. 45 minus 45 is 0. How many 9s can I fit into 45? The answer is 5. Well, if you were paying attention there, we divided, we multiplied, we subtract, we didn't bring anything down. There was nothing left to bring down. You can see these red arrows here in their example. That's where they're having to bring some things down. Well, let's do that right now. So let me move this up a little bit here, and let's go to this next problem. Now we have 72 and we're seeing how many 3s I can fit into 72. Well, that's a whole lot of 3s I can fit into 72. I know it's more than 10 and I know it's more than 20, but let's kind of look at that problem. Let's dissect it kind of the same way we've been doing. How many 3s can I fit into 7? Well, really I can stop there. 7's larger than 3. So I'm really going to just divide 3 into 7. What's the most amount of 3s I can put into 7? Well, it's 2. I can fit 2 3s into 7. Do you see how I put it above the 7? Because I'm dividing the 3 into 7. I just did my divide. Now I'm doing my multiply. So I put my little multiply symbol there. 2 times 3 is 6. Dividing, multiplying, and now I'm ready to subtract. Divide, multiply, subtract. 7 minus 6 is 1. And I'm not done with the problem. I still have a spot left here. I still have the ones place in my answer or my quotient. And I haven't done anything with this 2. That's what needs to come down. And when we do long division, we kind of do top to bottom. So the 2 comes down here and it goes right next to the 1. So I subtracted with 1, divide, multiply, subtract, and then I brought down the 2. What do I have to do now? Now I go back to my beginning. Divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. So now it's how many 3's go into 12? What's the most amount of 3's I can fit into 12? Well, 3 times 2 I know is 6. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 4 is 12. What's the most amount of 3's I can fit into 12? It's 4. And where do I put that? Well, that's in my answer. And really, it is above the 12. Do you see? It's going up here. And then I multiply again. I'm not multiplying 24. I'm multiplying the number that I just wrote down in my answer. Because I said 3 times 4 is 12, or I can fit 4 3's into 12. So 4 times 3 is 12. Divide, multiply, and now I subtract, which is 0. Is there anything to bring down? Nothing to bring down. My answer is 24, and that makes sense. 3 times 24 is 72. I can check my answer a real simple way like this. 3 times 4, 3 times 2 plus 1, 72. Okay. Let's do a couple more. Here we go. I'm going to do 2 more examples. I'm going to go a little bit faster, and then I'm going to have you do one with me. So let's take a look at another page. So remember, we're dividing, multiply, subtract, bring down, and then we just start over. Divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. Divide, multiply, subtract, bring down until I have nothing left. So let's start here. How many 7's go into 91? But really I want to look and see, well, how many 7's can I fit into 9? Oh, I can do that. 9 is larger than 7. How many 7's fit into 9? I'm dividing. That's 1. I put it right above the 9. How many 7's could go into 9? 1. That was my divide. Now I do my multiply, and I do 1 times 7, and I come down underneath. 1 times 7 is 7. Divide, multiply. Now I subtract. And I have something to bring down, right? Divide, multiply, subtract. I bring the 1 down, put it right next to the 2. Now I'm starting over. I just brought down. Now I'm back up to the top, and I'm going to divide. I'm going to do this process again. What am I dividing? I'm now looking down. How many 7's can I fit into 21? What's the most amount of 7's I can fit into 21? And I can hear my students in class right now saying it's 3. And yes, 7 goes into 21 3 times. 3 times 7 is 21. Divide, multiply. So 3 times 7 is 21. Subtract. And I have nothing left to bring down. And does that make sense? 13 times 7 is at 91. It is. I can double check it. For sure. Okay, I'm going to do another one, and then I'm going to have you do one with me. How many 5's go into 2? Well, 2 is smaller than 5. So now I can move 1 over. How many 5's go into 23? Well, I can do some 5's into 23. So what's the most amount of 5's? I'm dividing 5 into 23. I can fit 4. Now where does that 4 go? Well, it doesn't go over the 2 because I'm going into 23. So the 4 goes here. I know I can fit 5 or 4 5s into 23. And that is 4 times 5 is 20. I divided, I just multiplied, now I'm subtracting, right? 5 times 4 is 20. I subtract, divide, multiply, subtract. Now I'm bringing down. What do I bring down? I got this 5 to bring down. So now my 3 turns into 35. And I'm starting the process over. I just brought down the 5, so now I start with dividing. How many 5s go into 35? Well, I know my multiplication facts, and 5 times 7 is 35, so I know I can fit 7 5s. Where does that 7 go? It goes above. We've got to be careful the way we line them up, but it goes right here, and I know I have one place left, the ones place, and it goes here. And then I multiply. 7 times 5 is 35. And I have a remainder of 0. It's as simple as that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, grab your pages. You should have a page now, a blank piece of paper, and let's do some division problems. So let's just start one at a time. Go ahead and write 128 divided by 8. 128 divided by 8. Good. So we start. How many 8s go into 1? Well, that's not going to work. So I move over. How many 8s go into 12? Of course, it's 1. Where does that 1 go? It goes right above the 12. I just divided. Now what am I going to do next? I'm going to multiply, put that little x there. 1 times 8 is 8. Where does that go? Well, we're subtracting from the 12. We were seeing how many 8s we can fit into 12. Now I subtract. That is 4. Divided and multiplied, subtract. Oh, right away, now you get to do this. We're going to bring down, and we're bringing down the 8. Where does it go? It goes right next to the 4. And now we're back to dividing. What am I dividing? Not 8 into 8. It's 8 into 48. How many 8s can I fit into 48? 8 times 5 is 40. I can fit one more. 8 times 6. I can fit 6 8s. And then 6 times 8 is 48. So that's our multiplying. Divide, multiply, subtract. Is there anything to bring down? No. And then why don't you double check your answer? How do we double check the answer? We take our quotient times our divisor, and we should get our dividend. 16 times 8. Well, that's 48. Yes, sir. All right. You ready? Let's do one more. I'll leave that on the page so you can kind of see that one. The next one is 660 divided by 4. So if you can get that on your page, and then remind yourself, what do? We divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. Oh, let's check our quotient right here. How large is our quotient going to be? Can I fit 4 into 6? Yes, I can. My answer is going to be 3 digits. It's going to be in the hundreds place, isn't it? Because I know I can fit 4s into 6. How many 4s go into 6? Of course, it's 1. That's our dividing. Then we multiply. Bet you maybe you've already done that already. Where does that 1 times 4 go? It goes right underneath the 6. Divide, multiply, subtract. 6 minus 4 is 2. I just subtracted. What comes next? That's the bring down. I don't bring down both of these numbers, only one at a time. The 6 comes down, and it goes right in its place next to the 2. So we divided, multiplied, subtract, brought down. We're starting the process over. We're dividing. We're still staying with the 4. We're dividing. How many 4s go into 26? How many 4s go into 26? Well, 4 times 5 is 20. I can fit one more. 4 times 6 is 24. So I know I can fit 6 4s into 26. Where do I put that 6? In the tens place, because it's right above this 6 here that I brought down. And then some students make a mistake and they want to multiply times 16. Well, I just wrote it. 6 times 4 is 24. So that's my multiplying step. I just divided, I multiplied. Now I subtract. 6 minus 4 is 2. Do I have anything else to bring down? I certainly do. The 0 now comes all the way down next to the 2. And I have to start over again. This is going to be my third time dividing, multiply, subtracting, bringing down. How many 4s go into, not 26 now, how many 4s go into 20? What's the most amount of 4s? Well, remember I just said that. 4 times 5 is 20. My 5 goes right here, because that's above the 20, and that's that extra spot in my answer. And then I multiply. 5 times 4 is 20. And I subtract, and no remainder. I can double check my answer. 165 times 4. It should be 660. Oops, maybe you just noticed I made a mistake there. Even teachers make mistakes. So 24 plus 2 is 26. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 2 is 6. 660. Might not look great, but I did get the same answer. All right, I think you're ready to do some practice on your own. Remember, dead mice smell bad, divide, multiply, subtract, bring down.